We are here with Steve Sutherland, who is the always interesting and evocative CEO of Konami Gaming. And Steve, welcome back again.
Thank you, Frank. It's a pleasure to be here.
Steve, it's been a tumultuous year.
Right.
We've had COVID, we've had inflation, we got worries about recession, we have supply chain issues, we have foreign currency exchange issues. Tell us how Konami's managed through these challenges.
It's been a challenging year, and it's been a challenging year for I think the entire industry, and particularly on the supplier side. You know, even though being a challenging year, we've had a number of successes. But if we take a look at the challenges, you know, on the supply chain side, you know, a number of surprises. Over the past, 8 to 10 months, we've made a number of changes, from process standpoint. We've hired, certain individuals with a little more expertise on the supply chain. We've had to engage that supply chain, in many cases, skipping our direct supplier and going directly to the source, okay? So on the chip standpoint, going to the top level, of the suppliers, at the Intel type level, et cetera, to find out, what we can do. But that led to, on our side, we had to redesign a number of boards to get access to chips that were more readily available. So where we are today, probably 6 months ago, it was like playing whack-a-mole. You think you'd have something resolved, and something would rear its ugly head. Today, we're not playing whack-a-mole, but there are surprises that impact us today. So I think the end result of this is that, we see the end in sight. I think it's probably going to be sometime next year. And then we have inflation hit, okay? So, there's considerations there related to the company with the supply chain issues. Costs are rising. Inflation, those costs are also rising for the employee group, et cetera. So, we have to give, consideration to that going forward is related to product pricing, positioning, et cetera. So challenging, but great opportunity. I never expected I would have experienced what I've experienced over the past 3 years of my lifetime. And I've been through some challenging business situations, but nothing like this with all these factors impacting all at once.
You mentioned going back directly to the source in some cases. Is that, and this is maybe kind of a broader issue for industry in general, not just Konami or for gaming, but is that undoing a little bit of the just-in-time sort of approach?
There's not really. What we found is, some of our suppliers were not getting the inputs on a timely basis. They're getting surprised with that. So there's a group of us in the company that, reached out with contacts that we knew further up that supply chain to get a direct indication as to what was actually happening. And, surprising to us also at times, they were being surprised, at that level, just based on how the supply chain works. So, not really a surprise. We're not trying to undo the supply chain component. Through this whole thing, though, we have found those suppliers that are better at, what's the best way to put this? That are better at taking control of the situation that is, in there is many cases is truly theirs and not ours. But working together, they're good team members, or they've been contributing to Konami. We'll continue to work with them and refine that over time.
We spoke with James Maida from GLI yesterday, and he made a comment which I've heard a couple of other CEOs in our following interviews also mention, and that is that he thinks COVID accelerated change in the gaming industry by some number of years.
Yeah, I would agree with that very much so. It's, we've all changed our operation, the things that, we take a look at internally on strategically positioning the company. So, I think we've all learned things that's for the betterment of the industry. And, I think it's demonstrated that, in certain cases, maybe we can leverage some of these technologies and stuff, that are available to us in the marketplace that we're trying to bring into the market today. Maybe we can escalate, the delivery of that cycle on that side.
Talking specifically about the business at hand, which is Konami and what you guys are doing, what kind of developments are you looking to achieve in the next year or two?
Okay. Let me just talk about, since, we last met interview-wise, Konami was executing upon a plan to enter, more heavily into the participation business. And as COVID hit, we executed with a Dimension 49J with the all-aboard game series at a casino. We were at the dinner the night of that opening, and that evening as we were leaving the casino, they're shutting the casino down. So that was phase one. So we continue to develop on that product line in that participation area. We've had very great success with the all-aboard franchise that has been listed as one of the top, 22, I call it a franchise game. And, over this past quarter, it continues to ship, in a significant fashion. But we are broadening, the content that's available on there. We're about ready to release, and you'll see that up on the floor if you go up on a tour, Bull Blitz. And Bull Blitz has also been delivered to us by our Konami Australia entity that, reports to me. That's having great impact, great success in Australia. We're looking to make that a global brand, so I think that's going to be extremely successful. On top of that, we have other game content coming in that genre for the participation side. But on the direct sales side over the past year, we've worked very heavily, on building out the game library for direct sale product. And that effort's really started to pay off over the past 6 months, and we're looking forward to some of the additional content that's coming out. There's another series coming out called Lucky Drums. It's a Link Progressive. It's a for-sale product line, along with other very exciting product on that side, so we're looking forward to that. But as part of that strategy, when we decided to upgrade the product line, to enter the participation business at a more serious level from a company standpoint versus our direct sale model, we also made a commitment that we were going to enter the video lottery terminal market, we were going to enter the Class II market, and we were going to enter the historical horse racing market. The first market we entered was historical horse racing. It's been wildly successful for us. We continue to build out that content because that market continues to grow, be a great market. In July, we entered the New York State Lottery. We had our first install at the Saratoga Casino. Beautiful, beautiful casino, beautiful area. It's my hometown area growing up, pretty much. Beautiful area, successful launch, and we're looking to continue to build out on that. So that was a foundational component. And then here about 2 weeks ago, we installed our first Class II installation. My sales team wants to, they're focused on product performance, how much does it earn, as I know the casino is also. But there's a system behind that to operate. That's what my biggest concern is. I can fix the content. So we've laid these foundational variables to grow the business, which is outstanding. And then on the system side, during the pandemic, we started to become the system of choice, and that continues today. We've landed some very, very major accounts. Today we can handle the smallest operation, just be it a route operation, all to the world's largest casino. That's not an issue, and I think that's been proven by the Yamava Resort, down in Highlands, California. Very successful casino, 7,000 plus connections, and there's always issues, but it really, day to day, it's operational. They depend upon that. There's a number of people. That casino's surprised how busy it is. I was just here recently, extremely busy, and that system keeps purring. They need that. And then on the system side, we've continued to invest, but we released that Sync 31, the anti-money laundering, or the AML type of product. And that's been successful, and we're starting to gain traction, in that field. So we believe we're well positioned for here in the future.
Sounds like you've been busy.
It's been busy. It's kind of funny in your workday, you spend a lot of time on supply chain. Spend a lot of time, related, to the day-to-day, business, the strategy. And then on the other side is the execution on the human resources side. We're seeing a lot of transition of, those resources. There's a lot of movement in that area. People making lifestyle, choices. Some are moving out of the industry into other industries. That leads to internal poaching, amongst all of us supply chain wise, but it's a challenge, but we have to execute to that.
How do you find your casino customers and their casino customers in this environment? They're still holding up pretty well? And
I meet with a lot of customers. There's still a lot of confidence, in the recovery of the market, and they're talking about continued investment. Of course, I have to watch what's happening from the economy standpoint. But so far, we've not seen that impact the gaming industry that much. But it's something we have to be aware of because we're going to be, we're downstream of, that cash flow there. But right now, I'm confident, at least through the end of the calendar year, my 6-month window, and I would hope over the next year we'll be able to get through this.
you've been a pioneer in cashless.
Yes.
You've had an installation now for some time at Resorts World here in Las Vegas. How's that installation working, and how do you see cashless rolling out?
Let me lay the baseline that we've had a cashless product in the casino environment well before, years before the implementation at Resorts World. The cruise ships that we operate within, NCL, Carnival, that's a completely cashless environment. And let me say that it's a seamless transaction for the patron, and they're very successful. But it's the only way that they can gamble on these ships because it's part of their folio, et cetera. In Resorts World, there's a lot of options, okay? But for everything to be successful, it has to be a frictionless experience, okay? It's got to be easily adopted by the patron. So if we, as from the supplier side, put any friction in place or the regulatory standpoint, it's going to take time. And I think we also have to look at the demographic, of the players. We have players that are used to utilizing, bill acceptors, ticket printers, et cetera. I would say it's probably going to take a few more years to get to where we want to be. I want to be there today. I've always been an early adopter of technology personally and in the work environment. I think there's huge benefit to the casino. I also think there's huge benefit to some of the controls, related to AML and things along that line that, of course, our government tax authorities, Treasury, they're all concerned with. So it's, it provides, I think, a better vehicle for delivery overall. I can improve the patron experience, improve all the back-end component through the casino and all the reporting that has to flow from there on that side. So great opportunity ahead of us. We have to work together. We did recently install, Sky River in California. That's also a cashless environment, and they appear to be doing well also. I would just like to see industry adoption. I see there's significant incremental value we can provide to the industry. And I'm not just talking about the payment side. I think there's some incremental things we can do and further engage our system, et cetera, to provide a better experience to the casino patron.
Okay, great. We're at G2E. Folks will be by your booth. What are the 1 or 2 products they absolutely must see?
I think I mentioned Bull Blitz. They have to see Bull Blitz. We already talked about that. We've got America's, America's, I forget, America's Life. It's an Eagle-themed game, but it's got a James Brown theme song in there that it's very popular. It's very American. I think it's going to be very successful, and I think they really need to pay attention to the new Lucky Drums release. So the game's called America's Big Life. So.
Well, Steve, as always, it's a very interesting and a very informative discussion when we have you in that chair. Anything else that you'd like folks to know about Konami?
I think from a Konami standpoint, we've always been about fulfilling commitments with the customer base. I was at an event last night being able to see customers. This is an opportunity for us to thank our customers. They've invested in us. We need to continue to invest in them and fulfilling, our commitments. It's a great industry. I've enjoyed it since 1994 as working in the industry as a patron well before that. But a lot of thanks to not only the Konami employees, but our customer base, our supplier base. They've all been around us to support us through what we've been going through over the past few years.
Steve, once again, thank you for your
Thank you, Frank.
insight.
Good to see you.